Nice.
All right, cool. Yeah. Okay. So, how are you?
Fine. I reviewed the questions
Right.
of the Notion,
Right.
and I just think there's too much for hour to
Um
cover.
well, sessions are usually 90 minutes.
Oh, okay, nice.
And yeah, don't worry about like yeah, it's I don't I'm not too strict on the time, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you
Okay,
can let me know what the questions are.
nice. So they are on. My God,
The thing, right? I've never seen this before, but
the
the
Notion.
yeah, right. Okay, right. Sure.
I use it for work
Yeah,
and
all right.
stuff. It's
Uh
like a notebook, and you can share some of the pages or the whole book.
yeah. Okay, perfect. Um Okay, sure. Yeah, we can get started. So I'm gonna let you ask. So you can let me know where you want to start with the questions.
So I would probably start. I think my biggest worry right now is changing from playing assassins to playing ranged and control mages
Right.
because I've never played them and I
Hmm.
don't really know how to practice the fundamentals with something that I don't even know how it works. Like I think I need to go one step behind.
So okay, let me see your OPGG real quick one more time, just so I can get a quick refresher of everything.
Yeah,
Um.
it's on the Notion too, but here
Right.
it is.
Right. Right. Okay, so you have three accounts.
No, the second
Oh.
one is
Oh.
League of
Okay.
Graphs, just in
Oh.
case.
Okay. Got it.
And the third one, I made it yesterday or something. I played today some games to test some things.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
because I usually learn champions on my main account,
Right.
ranking,
Right. Okay.
maybe it isn't the optimal play.
Yeah. All right. So your question was how do I swap from the assassin slash melee playstyle to ranged, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
I,
Well, for,
I,
right, go ahead.
no, I don't know how to be in lane because I'm used to be always bullied and just wait and then kill. And now I think that as a range mate, at least against melee matchups,
Mm-hmm.
that I need to be in control of the lane, but I have no idea how what to do.
Right. So when you were first starting with Echo, Yone, Yasuo, and Katarina, which all of these champions are similar, by the way, because they're all melee essentially.
Hmm.
Um, you were not. Well, it was not really going well for you. Do you
No.
agree? Right. So essentially, the only answer to your question is you have to break everything to build it back up.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, I've had players that would come into I would really categorize them into certain like parts where there would be players that they can continue to play simple champions and they'll be okay. There's other players that need to continue doing what they're doing, but then refine on it. And then there's players that need to completely deconstruct themselves and then build themselves back up, which in your case, you are that type of player.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Right. You have a lot of bad habits built over. Wait, you just started playing, right? You're new. Oh no, you started in
Yeah,
season 9.
I have a couple of games in season 8, but because I wanted to give a skin to a friend, but I
Right.
needed to be like level 10. And then I'm not really sure when Worlds came up, but semifinals were in my country,
Right.
and I just fell in love with the game,
Right.
but I didn't have the time to invest
Yeah.
to now.
Yeah. No problem. Right. So, I mean, that's still fine, right? It's not a big deal. The good news is you don't actually have that many years invested, and
No.
so again, there's two types of players that I've noticed over the years, right? There are players
Yeah.
that have been playing the game for years and years and years that are silver and gold, and then there's players that are really new. Now,
Hmm.
personally, I would put my bets on a player who is silver, who has just started the game, than somebody who is diamond and has been playing the game for like 8 years.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because that person has already kind of capped in skill. And there's already so many bad habits built around that person, but the new player, there's very little like impression, and so it's a lot easier to build on them. So in your case, the sooner you deconstruct yourself and build yourself back up as a different type of player, essentially, the better. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like a
Yeah.
blank canvas.
Yeah,
I'll try
in
to
a way.
forget all
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. So going back to your actual question about how to swap and how to feel comfortable swapping, it's not going to be comfortable, right?
Why?
You said that you're like uncomfortable swapping to mages. Essentially, that
No,
was the
no.
basis of a question,
I'm
right?
no. I'm hyped, but I just don't know where to start. I always love trying new things and.
Oh, okay. Well, I misread that. I mean, the answer would still be relatively the same thing, where you would just have to do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right? You'll get used to it. It will take a few days, or perhaps, well, it would take a few weeks, but eventually it will become more effective than what you're doing now. Because
Mm-hmm.
my YouTube channel is geared towards improvement, and a lot of it is also geared towards improvement through control mages.
Yeah, having range is something amazing for me.
Right. Not to mention you have the say in lane, and so it's a lot. It's just a lot. It's going to be a lot better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me think here. There was actually an example that I had. Okay, here. I'm gonna screen share with you real quick. Okay.
Nice.
So right here is the okay. So right here. So let's say that, and I've said this before, I believe. Let's say that you are. So this is you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you know what? Let's say this is like random 700 LP mid laner. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say this is like pro player, like professional mid laner. Let's say he's a really really good pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now, what's happening is that this guy's gonna have an advantage, and the reason for that is because let's say he understands assassins at like a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that he understands control mages at about a 9 out of 10 as well. Well, the player on this end who understands assassins at perhaps a 7 out of 10, or maybe even a 9 out of 10, but understands control mages at like a 3 out of 10 because he doesn't play control mages, is going to have an inherent disadvantage because, he's just less experienced overall.
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense? So what
Yeah,
I'm saying is, if you pick up control mages, you playing assassins is actually going to improve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your understanding of Echo, understanding of Katarina, Yasuo, Zed, which part of these guys aren't even assassins, but you're gonna get better at them by playing control mages. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've played a little bit only of control mages, but in those games I burst Jone,
Right.
and I just see so much things he was doing wrong that no one punished me in my games,
Right.
and
Right.
I was learning just in one game.
Right. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, we can go to the next one. Yeah. Okay.
There are a lot of questions.
It's okay. We can just keep going through it. It's not a big deal. What's the second one? Sorry. So, do you want me to just read them down?
If you want to read them, like do a run it down myth through the questions. Like
Okay.
I'm not expecting to stay too much on each.
Okay. Sure.
Like
Yeah.
because I'm just looking for somewhere to start, and then I can manage myself to look
Okay.
for the information.
Sure. Okay. So I'm just gonna read them down then. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first question here is play blocks of 3 or spam games until I get a little bit of the champion mastery. This is actually an interesting question. So what you're trying to do right now is you're trying to develop muscle memory, right? And muscle memory is quite important. And I've had this issue for a very long time where like I play Phil, like I play everything. And so because I'm playing Phil, sometimes when I would play certain champions, my mechanics wouldn't be so good because of my muscle memory. Well, let's
Yeah.
say I played so season 9, or it was season, I think it was season 9 or 10. It was I was in master tier playing mid lane, right? I was somewhere in master playing mid lane, and I was playing a lot of TF, a lot of Orianna. Now that I play those champions, for example, I would play TF now, or I play Orianna now. I cannot land stuff. I cannot lane because my muscle memory isn't there. So what I would do, and what I am doing right now, is I'm just spamming the game so I can get champion mastery, where I would just get my muscle memory back into like its original like understanding of the champion, and then you can start playing blocks of 3 games. Okay,
Okay. That's nice.
does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
All right.
That was my initial planning, but I
Yeah.
needed to filter through you.
Yeah. So then eventually, once you spam a few games. By the way, you may most likely lose those games because they're not conscious. Or
Yeah, yeah.
quantity of games, a large quantity of games equals less and less attention overall, right? So that can become an issue. But then yeah, you want to play blocks of 3, and the way you can do it is, I don't know how much time you're investing, per
Right now,
day.
I can invest all the day if I want.
Okay, cool. So if that is the case, see again, that could also be an issue because if you invest all day, investing too much with the game will actually make you worse. I know
I
that
usually
sounds weird.
I usually invest more time in watching contents and bots and stuff. Like I'm in love with learning the game,
Hmm.
and I just want to be able to translate all those tips and things to my own gameplay.
How many hours do you play, and how many hours do you usually watch the game?
Uh, when the last time I started climbing, it was only a 2 weeks period, but
Hmm.
I could play some days 8 hours, or other days I can
Jesus.
play
Okay.
2 hours and then watch 4 hours. Like it depends on the focus of that week sessions.
Okay. And how often? Okay. Here's another question. Um. Okay. Here's another question. Have you gone to university, or any like lecture
Yeah,
kind of room? Okay. How long were your lectures?
3 hours maybe.
How long were you able to pay attention to those lectures, like attentively?
All class because I love it.
The whole class. Okay.
Yeah.
And were there
I mean,
any?
when I find something that I like, I'm just completely obsessed with it.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
But a class isn't so mentally demanding as League of Legends. Like
Right.
I can watch a lot of content and take notes and stuff, but playing is a different story.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so you're just built different, I guess. Okay. All right. So now let's say, okay, so now I think doing too much is going to be an issue, mainly because eventually after the 7th hour, your attention will eventually falter. It's
Mhm.
not, that's human. That's a natural thing, I'd imagine, right? Even if, as much as you love the sport, or as much as you love the act, eventually your attention will falter the more and more you do it. So what I would recommend you do is you split your practices, right?
Mhm.
So what you can do in the morning or in the afternoon or wherever, like let's say you do practice 1 and then you have practice 2, and all you do, you're just splitting them. So for practice 1, you can do something like you can do like 3 hours of gameplay, right?
Mhm.
And then you can do like 2 hours of coaching, right? And
Yeah.
when I say coaching, I'm telling you to look at the videos. Don't look at your own gameplay. Look at the videos and learn from what the videos are talking about, and then try to translate those in your own games. Okay.
Okay.
Do not review your own gameplay. That's not going to be helpful. Um,
Okay.
and I guess I'll tell you the reason for that is because you're not aware of what to look for, and a lot of players do that, right?
Nice.
There's this weird like expectation that the community has over people, that you should always watch your own replays. Now, yeah, if you're higher MMR, if you're like master, maybe if you're like Diamond 1, maybe if you're like Challenger, sure, you can watch a little and perhaps you can get a little bit of information. But for the average person who's sitting in Silver, Gold, Platinum, and then Lower Diamond, you're not able to determine what you're doing wrong, right? Yes, you may actually fix stuff, but there's also a chance that you're just going to continue to get, like, you're just going to go in loops, right? So 3 hour playing, 2 hour coaching videos, and then you can just do whatever you want throughout the day, and then again 3 hours of playing and 2 hours of coaching. You do this for like 30 days to like 120 days. You're gonna climb. There's no reason why you won't.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you will get better. You will get better. There's just no way you can't. Okay, if you're doing this correctly, and you're not like autopiloting and you're consciously thinking of everything you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
And people don't realize how fast you can get better, right? League of Legends is not like, it's not like working out, for example. It kind of is and it kind of isn't. Like, for example, when someone starts working out, it's going to take a few years to get to that physique that they're trying to achieve. But with League of Legends, you could be like silver, gold, and then the second you do stuff like this and like you start understanding things, you can hit Diamond 1. I've seen it. I've seen people do it. Okay.
With effective learning, no?
With proper learning and proper like management of their time and their understanding of the game, and doing it consistently, you can jump from gold to Diamond 1.
Nice to know that.
Yeah, it is possible, right? In fact, I had a client one time, and I talk about him a lot. This was like years ago, before like I was doing Zen coaching and all the YouTube and stuff. I was still me, but I just wasn't like, as people didn't really know what I was doing. But what essentially I did one time, and I was a free coach back then. I wasn't really, So I had a client, this guy, he was a little bit older than me. He was in his, like, I think he was in his late 20s. I was in my late teens at the time. And he was a silver 80 carry. And he asked me to have coaching. He needed coaching from me, right? I agreed. His brother was a challenger player in Korea. And I was, at the time, a platinum player. I was like platinum 1 or diamond 4. I don't remember. It was a long time ago when I first started. But him and I sat down and we coached him. We taught him what to do. And what ended up happening is this guy went from, and this happened all within the course of like 4 months. This guy went from silver to then playing with like double lift. Like against double lift in solo queue.
Okay.
It was just like, wow. And to me, and this guy had no experience at all. This guy had no experience of MOBAs. This guy had no experience of the game. He was a silver 80 carry. He had no concept of what he was doing. He was running into the enemy the first day we met him. And he was just running into towers and dying. He wasn't even aware of what champions did. he was playing ADC without realizing that Lucian could dash. And I was just like, okay, well, this guy's a fucking anomaly. And so we taught him, and he was really receptive to everything, and he was consistent, and he got really good really fast. And so after that day, I realized that this game is not like traditional sports where you have to focus on years and years and years. You can get really good really fast if you're able to just have like a consistent schedule.
Yeah.
Okay?
I agree.
Anyway, so that was my little story. So next question here. So any questions about that at all so far?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Play even if I don't have 100% focus, quantity versus quality. This is a good question, and this was actually my question early on with the university thing I asked.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on this a little bit?
Yeah, like I can play like just those games where it's maybe 10 minutes into the game and then you're just autopiloting. Like if in my current state, maybe that's good for for muscle memory and stuff. Like if I just have to grind hours in some cases, or just play always focus.
So, okay.
Or for example, if I have a game where I got tilt, I rarely get tilt, but if suddenly my ADC decide to run it down mid and I just got tilt, do I wait until I get mentally stable to queue up again, or should I just go again?
So there's two questions to this question, actually. There's two parts of this question. The first one is focus, right? And the second one is tilt, right? These are two different things. Obviously they correlate with each other, because if you tilt you lose focus, and if you focus you have less likely to tilt or whatever, right? But essentially the issue is, first of all, let's focus on this focus. Now, you have to train focus, you have to train attention, right?
Yeah.
And how do you train attention?
With meditation?
Yes, there you go. You just meditate. If you can meditate for 20 minutes, in what world do you think you can't play a video game for 20 minutes? If you can focus on your breath for 20 minutes, you can focus on anything for 20 minutes. If You can focus on studying for 20 minutes. You can focus on a League of Legends lane phase.
Yeah, usually I'm not sure if it's meditation, but like taking deep breaths if something goes wrong, or like trying to I'm not sure if that's the word, but disassociate myself from the moment.
Well, no,
Or
now you're trying to get into meditation. I'm not saying you have to get into meditation. I'm just saying you have to practice a part of meditation, a very surface
yeah,
level concept of meditation, which is essentially you're training your brain to focus on something for longer periods of time. Here's
yeah, and
something
bring it back if it goes.
here's something that I've never done it, but I know that I've learned about people who've done it, and I think this practice originated somewhere in the East. Um, and I think it was like, okay, so it was essentially what you would do is you would go to your kitchen and you would actually just turn on the faucet very, very little, to the point where there's just like drops coming out of it. And what you would do is you would just pay attention to those. It has no significance to you, but you're forcing your brain to pay attention to something that holds no value to you.
Yeah,
That trains your brain. You're conditioning your brain to focus for long periods of time, even when it wants to do something else. A lot of people have issues where they're trying to focus on the game, and they can't do that because, you know, their brain's going wherever. Stream quality is bad. I'll fix it. I fix it right after, guys. Sorry about that. It was because of yesterday's net issues.
I have it fine.
No. I'm recording it, so don't worry about it. But anyways, does that make sense? Going back to what I was saying,
Yeah.
the brain is like, it's essentially geared towards distraction. It's very easily distracted. And so if you condition yourself to focus on one thing, you will condition your brain to focus on the game for longer periods of time without losing focus. And League of Legends games are not like 2 hours long. Right?
Yep.
They're really not 2 hours long. They're like 30 minutes maybe, right? In certain regions they're a lot lower, but you can just practice focusing on a certain amount of time, use that as like a threshold, and then it'll translate in game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Any questions about any of that so far?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on having like a background noise? It's not the word, like, for example, a gong that goes out every minute or every 3 minutes to remind yourself to be focused on something. I'm not sure if I.
You're using, okay, yeah, no. So like a metronome,
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Okay, yeah, a metronome. Using a metronome is fine, but are you gonna play with the metronome all the time when you're in a game?
No, but I had a past coaching sessions where I just didn't look anywhere in the map, and at the start I had it like every minute, and it just goes gong, and my brain just look at the map, like,
Right. So
in order to develop the muscle memory.
the difference now, I'm not okay. So the difference between what I'm saying and what you're suggesting here, which is a good question, by the way. Using a metronome or like a sound to then essentially train your brain to, by unconscious nature, look at the map is a lot more suboptimal than training your brain to pay complete attention for longer periods of time and then just being able to look at the map. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
The first part is unconscious. The second part is conscious. The way we do anything, not just League of Legends, is through higher levels of consciousness to an activity. But by conditioning your brain to hear a sound and then look at something is essentially conditioning unconscious behavior.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So a metronome or like a gong or like a sound stimulus is actually bad for you. Even though people are, saying that it's good, it's actually not good.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking and filtering stuff.
Right. Yeah. So does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Any questions regarding this question here?
Not at this moment.
Perfect. Okay.
This
So
one is a bit too broad.
yes, it is.
Maybe we can go over it.
Yeah, we can. You have to elaborate though, because I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, like the effective way, it's like learning how to learn, but
Learning
maybe,
how to learn.
yeah.
Mm, how do you learn? So you've gone through. I mean, I'm assuming you've gone through formal education, right?
Yeah.
How did you learn during those years of formal education?
Well, for example, I made up mnemonics and stuff like that.
Wait, you what? I'm sorry. I was.
Mnemonics
You have
is,
to remind. You have to remember. I was a really bad student, so.
yeah. So for example, I don't have memory, but I remember visual things. So I just made up a story. For example,
Oh,
if I
okay,
have to
okay.
study history,
Right.
I just imagine the characters and stuff, and then it just all come to my mind. Like not really doing hard work most of the time. It's just a creative work.
Right. So you're trying to build connections.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
and patterns and stuff.
Um. Okay. See, that's a hard question for me to answer because I don't know how you learn. Everyone, I assume, learns differently. The way I learn, well, to be fair, I don't learn that well. I was a really bad student. But the way I learn is I have different ways to learn. I just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have a story method. I don't. Maybe it's suboptimal. I don't know. But if I'm forced to learn something, I would just do it.
Mhm.
Right? I remember when I was so I know a little bit of Korean because I was going to go there and I had to learn a little bit of the language, so I took a class, and a lot of my classes as well, I was learning the language through story,
Yeah.
right? So I do think that story is quite a good way to learn, but I don't know how you're going to translate that to League of Legends.
Yeah, it's a bit a weird
Yeah.
question.
Um yeah, I have no idea how to translate that to League of Legends. Um so I don't really know how to answer this.
Maybe how to do boring exercises more fun, but I don't get bored of farming
Well,
alone. I guess.
right. Well, getting bored. Okay, so getting bored of what you're doing is not necessarily. It's essentially it's a mental activity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're able to
Focus.
if you're able to detach your objective from your mental activity,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't. Yeah, you'll be bored, but you'll continue to do it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah. Sure.
getting bored because you're getting bored, but the problem isn't getting bored. The issue is that you're putting too much value in your mental activity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So if I have an objective to do, like I've done this on stream sometimes, I would be playing scrim games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or I would be playing really important games, and I would have Twitch chat, at like 70, 80, 100 people sometimes, and chat is like always. I mean, okay, so chat's really good, right? But you know, chat, right? They're judging. They're
Yeah.
judging. You missed that CS, Zen. Your coach, okay.
Yeah. The bad student.
That's stressful, right? That's actually stressful to play under, all right? Um, but that stress is just a mental activity, which I give no value. So then I can just focus on allocating all of my resources and my attention to the actual game,
Yeah.
right? So the same goes with boredom. If you're bored, yeah, you're bored. There's nothing you can change about that, but don't give it value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't care that it doesn't matter if you're bored. You just have to keep going because once you've decided something, you have to just detach the way your mind works and the actual objective because eventually your boredom is just temporary, right? Obviously, once you're done, whatever, you're not bored anymore because then you'll be doing something else. So that's one way to try to help you learn League of Legends.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I think it's very different for other people, right? I think if you can translate the way you're learning through formal education and try to do that with League of Legends, in some way, maybe that'll help. But I can't explain or I can't answer the question because I don't know how you learn,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
right?
I'll find a way to enjoy the path.
Yeah, yeah. My best again, my best advice is don't give your psychological thought processes too much value.
Hmm.
Okay.
Nice.
Anyways, any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Um, should I play other games? Uh, why do you want to play other games?
I asked that question because people say that I've never played StarCraft. I've never seen the game. Like, I think I seen one image or something. Like, they have this really high APM and their attention is everywhere the map, and they develop all these fantastic attitudes and aptitudes and all the stuff. Like, if it could be beneficial.
That has nothing to do with StarCraft, though.
Yeah, it's an example. Like, if
Oh,
if there's any other game, like
you're
London's game.
saying you must be talking about building an athletic mindset towards video games.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So okay, yeah, yeah. So you're saying build an athletic mindset towards video games. Um,
Yeah,
that's
because I come from shooters,
right,
and
right. What shooters did you play?
I've played Call of Duty, Counter Strike, Overwatch, Valorant,
Okay,
like
okay. And
every
what rank did you get in some of these games? I've only played CS:GO, so I don't.
plat. I think is my rank, but I didn't play to grind.
Right,
Like the one I grinded was Valorant. Like in Overwatch, I get almost masters, but the game's just going down.
right.
Because I didn't grade because I was on a team and I just screamed. Like I couldn't play any solo queue because I was like, what are these guys doing? Like,
Of course, yeah. No, I know the feeling. Okay, that's fine. Um, playing other games won't really do anything because what you're trying to find is the athletic mindset, or essentially the yeah. I think that's what you're trying to find. I think you're trying to find the athletic mindset. But you can do that with League of Legends, right? The only time you should be playing other games is to de-stress yourself off the
nice,
off League. Okay.
nice. Okay.
Um, like for example, I play what is it called? Rocket League sometimes, right? I love football, but
Yeah.
and so like I found Rocket League. I'm like, okay, this is basically like not it, but it's close, right? So I play a lot of Rocket League when I'm like bored. Or I would play like yeah. Actually, I don't actually play many games other than League of Legends. But yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All I'm saying
Nice.
is don't go playing League of Legends and then as a secondary game play like a Wild Rift or something. That's not healthy, right? It's just not healthy. So the only time you play another game is when you're just trying to de-stress yourself,
Yeah.
right? If that's how you do it. I don't play games to de-stress myself. I because I'm essentially having to sit down and play the game for hours and hours and hours. I don't enjoy gaming to like chill out. I would go outside or do something, right? But for you,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you can play games. Maybe you can do other things. And if playing other games isn't a de-stressor, then don't play other games.
Okay.
Okay?
I asked that question, uh, like one in Overwatch. Have
Right.
you played Overwatch?
No, but I've seen it once.
Well, it's like a shooter, but it has some strange abilities. Like if you play this type of champion, then you can swap to another type of champions, and some things of the older champion will remain with the new one.
Yeah,
But
it
then
works the
it's
same way as League of
other
Legends.
champions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that was the question too. Like if there is
Oh,
something that I can extract from other games to apply in League of Legends.
mm, what did you play in Overwatch?
I was DPS.
What is that? Is like
Until DPS is Genji, Hanzo, like projectile base
oh, so it's
divers.
like an ADC.
Yeah, I was like the sniper and then the diver, like assassins. I love assassins. Sorry, not
I
sorry.
would just tell you to play Action, but that's not a good idea. Um,
Yeah, then one champion came out and break the meta, and it was I just was forced to play this melee bullshit that I hate, and then I just left the game.
okay, fair. So why are you playing Yasuo and stuff?
I started playing Yasuo because I struggled a lot against them. Like they were so conflict that I didn't understand if it was their fault or my fault. And I didn't understand basic things like if he has the shield up, you should not trade, or you should take it down before, or he can flash. And, like it was such a mess of champion for me that I couldn't find patterns between the different enemies that I faced.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to play him, and suddenly I have these games where I was just really fed, and it just felt so good. But it's like really toxic relationship with the champion. Like I wouldn't be a main
I mean,
Yasuo.
you're playing Yasuo. You have to be a masochist. There's no way you can pick this champion without having some kind of issues, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I started to play for to understand him, and then suddenly I was 50 games into him. I didn't know why or how.
Right. Okay.
Like, this happens to me. Like I have this champion that I just can't face, so I just spam it until I'll be one trick pony of that champions through a couple of days or weeks,
Right. Right.
and take off the pain, or not if he's just well bad.
Wait. Say that. What? Can you repeat that one more time?
Like I'll try to understand the other champion, like what benefits him in the lane, what's his power spikes, when can I, what are my plans,
Okay.
like be in his mind. But with Joshua it's strange because the thing that I said that it's
Well. Okay.
I couldn't find a
Mm-hmm.
sandbox to train against Joshua. Like
Get,
it's
getting
always
getting
random.
getting into the mind of a Yasuo player is gonna put you like in the hospital. Okay, so don't even attempt to try to under. You'd understand the universe 3 times over before you understand the mind of how a Yasuo player thinks inside of silver and gold. Okay, so just don't even uncharted territory. Let's just not go
Yeah,
there. Okay, we value our mental health.
sure.
So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really interesting reason why you picked it up. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter because now you're gonna drop it. But for champions that, so you're saying similarity in champions. Um,
I I usually say that I like and then I watch your videos, and I was, oh, so this is it. Like I always say that I like champions with dashes and blinks and stuff like
right,
Akali,
right.
because I wasn't positioning myself correctly, or I just go almost into the enemy nexus so they come for me, and then I just have 30 dashes to run away, and then I was having fun. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that I view those lips and dashes and blinks like a cheat, and like they never respect with Echo the E flash combo or the flash E combo. They like there's it's like the easy part of playing assassins,
Yeah, I
I
got it.
guess.
I got it.
The extra mobility.
Mm-hmm. My best answer to this would just be like, if you start playing control mages, you'll get used to how control mages work, and you can swap to different champions like Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can play Vladimir, Annie,
Yeah,
Oriana.
I like Annie because of the one shot. Like I almost that's another thing that I love about assassins. Like I mean I'm Amut.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not on mute. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. You were saying something?
Uh yeah, like I mean it's okay to play other things, and that I like Annie too because of the one shot.
Right,
That it's
right.
something that I can carry from the assassins to her.
Well, you can do Vladimir as well. Like, not now, but eventually. Like, once you get better and better with Annie, I think Vlad is really good. He's getting buffed as well next patch, I think. You can do Vlad. I think even Echo in some cases could work. But I
Oh,
think
that's
that's
nice.
higher rank. Yeah, I think higher rank is better first.
Yeah.
Vladimir, Oriana, and Annie, I think are really good. Vigar, you could
Okay.
do. I mean, if you like one-shotting people, you can do Vigar.
Well, with Baker,
yeah.
I'll be pushed to farm. Like,
No, Vigar has pretty good control.
yeah, I mean that I must face the laning phase really hard with farming and stuff.
Well,
Because with assassins, it's like you can't play for everything except your lane and still win. And if
Mm,
I wanted to
yeah.
focus on the laning phase, maybe Veigar is why. It's fine.
Well, so the way you get good at League of Legends is that you focus on the laning phase.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right now, you're playing Echo and Yasuo and Yone and whatever. Yeah, these champions are whatever. You're only finding kills on them
Because the
because
others are worse.
everyone else is running around like headless chickens, yes. Eventually it
Yeah.
gets to a rank where the game becomes a lot more controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not going to have much ease just playing these champions and running around.
Yeah, and catching people
Yeah.
who is never alone.
You can't cosplay Rengar with every champion you play and just run around assassinating people. It doesn't work like that, right? So lane phase is one of the most important things to get good at League of Legends. If you want to ever get really good at League, you have to look at lane phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Anyway, so that's that. And then again, like similar champions, Annie, Vladimir, Orianna, Veigar. These are all fine. You can eventually
Nice.
use them. Okay.
I'll OTP Annie for a while,
Yeah.
and then maybe I'll
There's
again.
there's actually, can someone link me the Korean pro player who plays Annie as a one trick? I know someone has that. I don't know. I don't remember what it is, but if someone has that link of that guy. I don't remember his name. I would like to see that.
Later in the questions are questions related to Annie and stuff.
Alright, that's fine. Allo, can you send that to me? Can someone link me as OP? I'll take a look. Whenever you guys can. Anyways, so okay, so next question. Duo queue to face better players or solo queue? So when you duo queue, who are you playing against?
Well, I have this master friend with who I don't know how to say that. I wanted to play with this friend who's master, but I didn't want to mess up my MMR in my account or being accused of being boosted or something. Like I'm
Oh,
super
did he want to do? He wanted to solo like ranked queue with you.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I learned a lot with him, and we just get new accounts. And I was playing with people that I just couldn't stop and think. Like the MMR was so broken. Like people will even stomp him. Like his main ADC and went mid and went off roll, so I can then watch the replay and stuff.
You must be in
And-
Smurf queue.
Yeah.
European
but
Smurf queue
was,
is fun.
It was like, but I was getting so stumped, but I was having so much fun because my brain just I was just playing. I wasn't thinking about what should I do, I just was I just need to react. And it was a couple of weeks that I just think I step up, but I'm not really sure how, like just facing better players. So now I have a mate who with I play with this guy now, and he's gold 4 picks. I don't know if Platts or gold 1, but when I play with him, I face better players, like not really better players, like we are all the same elo, but I think that they punish me more and harder than if I play solo queue. Like if I play alone, I feel that some games I have one echo game where I just got filled in jungle and I didn't path a shit. Like my Nautilus told me, please gank level 2. I'm echo. I'm just okay. I'll go. And then I was going to my blue side thinking, well, I just don't have any camps here, and they were all up, and I'm like, well, this is like kindergarten. Like I think I can't learn playing alone the same way, like playing against people 2-3 divisions above me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I think I don't mind getting stomped. I love playing against the Smurfs. Like
there's a fine line between getting stomped completely and learning from losing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like you can play against a plat player and maybe you'll learn some stuff, but if you play against a top challenger player, there's nothing to, the game's already over before it begins.
Yeah.
Right? So Yeah, I don't think there's a reason not to play with. So now I wouldn't. Now don't duo queue with someone in the same rank as you,
Okay.
right? um, because obvious reasons. There's no reason to have someone there. You're duo queue. It's just pointless because you have less time to focus on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Um, so because you have to entertain the secondary person. But to duo queue with the master player, and if you guys are just getting an account through ranks with like through Smurf queue, now
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to like learn from that, considering the players are just gonna probably stomp you. But there's also a chance that you could learn from that. So I can't necessarily answer that because it would depend on who you're playing against, right?
Yeah.
But if you're learning, and you're learning inside of a more harsh environment, I do think that still that still promotes some kind of growth. Because you're gonna be it's just like training with heavier weights on,
Yeah.
essentially,
Like
right?
then I go to my main account and I'm like, wait.
Yes. But there's a difference. Like I'm gonna use a weightlifting analogy. You can train with heavier weights, but there is a point where you put on too much and you're going to hurt yourself,
Yeah, sure.
right? So that is, again, you have to try to be the judge on your own on that accord kind of thing, because I don't know if you're playing against challengers or if you're playing against like the next gold player.
We asked some of them and they told that they were D2, D4 sometimes,
It's like
sometimes plat 1.
I mean, I guess
Like
I guess you can do that, but I think your main focus should definitely be to play on your main.
yeah, sure.
Right.
Like this was like an anecdote.
Okay.
Like he was teaching me stuff,
Yeah,
like saying
I think
this is
I
going to
think that's
happen,
good.
or we can do this, and actually works because the other people act accordingly to what people should do in a game. Like it's like tracking jungle in silver. That's not. I think there's no point in trying to track a jungle in silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to do that. Yeah, I think it's actually okay to do that because you're still learning from somebody. I think that's really healthy. Like
Yeah.
when I first played the game, I was like bronze when I first started. And I was bronze for like 2-3 months because I didn't know what I was doing back then. This was a long time ago. This was in season 6 when I first began. And I had a mentor. He was gold 4 or like gold 5. He was I thought he was really good because I didn't realize that there was a rank after gold. And so, I thought he was really good, and he basically taught me the ropes of how to play the video game early on. Eventually, I realized how bad he was, but that was like a long time ago. So I think it's fine to have like a mentor. I actually think it's fine, but
Yeah.
my best answer is make sure you're aware of like when to take off those extra weights.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, right. Anyways, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We can move on to the
That review part you can just jump.
Okay, sure. Which games are worth watching if I need to choose between many of them? You don't watch any of your own gameplays.
Yeah, that's just jump that.
Okay, great. All right, great. I don't have to bring up the infamous doctor analogy. All right, what's next? What led to this death? How did I ended up in this situation? Am I feeling threatened?
Those
Why?
questions are all related to review. Like you can read them if you want.
Right. So,
But
again, all of this, you don't review your own games because that's like, again, right? That's like trying to get medical advice from someone who's not a doctor. Okay. We
Okay.
If you want medical advice, you ask a doctor. You don't ask the local fucking
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
That makes sense.
Right. Review only levels 1 to 6. This is actually quite important. Hold on, let me actually go through these. How to learn to avoid
Okay.
mistakes instead of fixing them. This is yeah. Should I skip this?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want, yes.
Do you want me to skip
Like
it?
we get. I think that some of these questions I already know the answers, but I just want to filter them against you.
Okay,
Like-
what's the answer to this?
I think that once I get better, I just avoid them. Like, I don't know, there's an easy answer to. It's not like get good, like maybe with hours and time, I'll just be able to just avoid mistakes. Instead of, I don't know, I just queue this wave and it makes me stay 2 more waves, and then the jungler kill me, and oh my god, and
Okay.
there's no point. I think at this point, that's well, there's no point on thinking about that. I think at this point.
Sure. Okay.
Point.
Okay. Opportunities missed. How do we get better at noticing these things? This just requires like you to get better. This is literally the answer is literally get good.
Get good.
Yeah. Review only 1 to. Yeah, this is actually important. You only want to review 1 to 6. In some cases, I only review like 1 to 3 usually because depending on the player.
Yeah.
Like I coached. I did, if you watch the, I don't know if people have, but I did the 200 LP GM or 200 LP Master Millionaire yesterday, and we only went over like levels 1 to 4 because he just kept making mistakes in his clicks, right?
Yeah.
So I only go like really early levels. Review only the learning focus. Review only the learning focus I had for that game, or do more general approach. What do you mean?
For example, I imagine I go into this game trying to, I don't know, like farm effectively the first 2 waves. I don't mean farming every single minion, just getting all the possible CS. So when I review that game, I could spend more time looking for, I could have traded here, I just misclicked here.
You don't want to review that though.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the reasons, now I say this all the time. Usually when people, let's say, if you die at wave 5, usually your death at wave 5 is a byproduct of something you did wrong at wave 3.
Yeah.
Right? But people don't determine this. People just see this. People just see the death at wave 5 and they're like, oh, I'm bad. But no, you messed up on 3, you messed up on 4, and this is why 5 and 6 are like this, right? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah. How do I practice farming? Okay, can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, the last time I started to try to improve, like every day I just do this warm up where I just go into a custom match, and first I'll just farm 10 minutes, the most I can, with only auto attacks. And once I get, imagine one day I just reach the 80 at 10, I just go to the next level the next day, and the next day I can use auto attacks and abilities. And until I reach certain CS, I couldn't go to the next level. Like, then I just go into against a bot, then an intermediate bot, then I play against a real human of my elo and that stuff.
Well, I mean, humans, let's not say that. No,
yeah, whatever.
Okay. Wait, why would you take jungle camps?
Yeah, that's thinking about
in like a
when
custom
I crash.
Game? Like when you crash and you can take Raptors or Wolves or something. Annie can't do that easily, by the way. It's kind of hard for Annie to do. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, to find those timers, to ward, to take camps, to, I don't know.
Right. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Alone against bots against the same elo player higher than Q. Okay, so the best way to do this, now I know a lot of people have this thing about CSing drill or exercise or whatever, all that stuff, right? I was about to call it nonsense, but it actually is nonsense. But anyways, the reason I think doing CS drills doesn't do anything for you, I guess in silver it's good. So okay, when you're CSing, you can just go into a custom game and you can just do like 20-30 minutes of farming minions. I think that's healthy. That's fine to do. Okay? But the real practice should be 1v1s.
Yeah, that's the next part.
Right. So your actual practice should just be through 1v1ing other players. Okay?
This farming practice I used to do it to learn the champion. Like, for example, I'm not sure, I'm going to just throw the numbers, but sure. For example, with Echo, if you have 120 AP, maybe you can one-shot the back lane. So I'll just go and try, well, if I buy this thing or I have this money, this gold, I can go back and just one-shot the wave, or with Ari, I think the Q, like learning things of my champion, like getting used to the damage my abilities do in its level.
That's fine to
Or
do, I think. That's quite important. Like, for
with
example,
any the projectile speed, like
Yeah.
I'm not in the face of the minion. I have, like, my brain actually have to take into account the distance, the speed of the projectile, the minions that are hitting that minion in that moment, the random weird thing that makes the minion go on the tower, and all those things.
Alright, I think that's fine to do. I don't think you need 30-40 minutes every day to do that, though, right?
Yeah, I usually do 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think doing that stuff is fine. For example, like REQ, you mentioned RE. RE 3 points in Q actually 2 shots the backline wave.
For example.
Right? Another example is like Twisted Fate, where TF, the way you would do that is, like, I think with 3 points in Q, you would Q, red card the front wave, and then Q the whole thing one more time. With some autos, of course, in the frontline minions, right? So these things are really important to do. The same analogy, or the same kind of thing, like with Victor E. It's like watching a Victor player try to land E, but then miss like a little bit of the minions, or like have them at like 1 or 2 HP, which is really, really bad because now you have to extend. That stuff is fine to do. Learning that stuff on your champion is quite crucial to do that. I completely agree. That's very crucial to do that. But the main practice when it comes to farming minions specifically should be done in 1v1s.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so is there anything else? Like, you wanna
no.
go over? Okay, how to practice 1v1s, just go into a custom game and do it. Okay?
I mean the rules of the 1v1.
Oh, no, I mean, just treat it like a normal lane.
Oh, so you can back, you can...
Yeah, why are you 1v1ing in the first place?
To learn how to...
Lane.
Yeah.
So, like, to treat it like lane.
Yeah, my brain just exploded, like, I'm trying to learn this thing, but with, like, a tiny sandbox with a lot of rules that really doesn't make sense
anything.
In a real game.
It's not like in a real game where you're like, hey, don't recall, I'm gonna all chat the guy.
Yes,
no.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
So yeah. Anyways, do I play against certain matchups at first, or can they YOLO pick their champion? Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I usually play against gold to master players, the 1v1s.
Okay.
And they maybe sometimes take into the mid lane a champion that I've never burst before.
That's
or
fine.
do I ask them, hey, play Yasuo, so I don't have to spam 60 games of this?
You can ask them to play Yasuo if they're nice.
Yeah, sure.
you can do that, or you can just, play whatever they pick against. It's mid lane, you see everything really, but yeah, I mean, you can just ask them, right? That's fine.
Okay.
I usually play against gold to master players. Do I tell them to breathe or punish everything else I do wrong? So you tell me, what is the answer to this?
They just play as a normal game.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Just beat them. I mean, unless you're playing like versus like a top master player, yeah, you can tell them to go a little bit easy on you, sure. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anyways, possible things to focus during sessions.
This is just a brainstorm, like.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Literally made. Why? What is? Okay. All right.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Hold on. Let me.
I think this ties back to what are the fundamentals. Like, just filter out all the things that I think I know, but I don't really understand.
So,
like I can maybe speak with a master player about macro and all this LCK stuff, but
LCK.
then I just can't farm 2 waves. Like,
right, master players don't have their minimap enabled. Let's just put that out there, okay? Trust me, I've seen it. I've been at, the minimap isn't enabled until you're a challenger. Anyways, so and even then it's debatable. But anyways, so focus things to actually focus on during sessions is just the fundamentals. Sessions? You mean like practice sessions? Like when you play?
Like
okay.
Those 3 hours before.
Yeah.
The coaching.
Right. It is always going to be fundamentals. Okay.
Like, I don't mind going to a game, like, just farm and die 20 times with the jungler or trade really bad. Like, I don't mind getting beaten, if that makes sense.
No. You have to. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, like, I can go to this match and just practice spacing. Like, I maybe have 2 minions at the end of the laning phase, but I practice the muscle memory
Well,
or...
Why don't you just do that in 1v1s instead of terrorizing solo queue?
Yeah, it's the same. Like,
Okay. So
I can't focus. I think at my level, I can't focus at the same time on many things, like those attention points you mentioned.
Yeah. The 10 attention points or 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, sure.
Like, I prefer to, maybe it's wrong, but I prefer to be completely focused on one thing and get that down, and then go to the next thing and get that down. Like,
So,
I don't care about rank.
If you're silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or if you're NA challenger, right? If you're in these ranks, what you need to focus on, if you're in these divisions, what you need to focus on is the fundamentals. Now, what are the fundamentals, right? CSing, of course, is one. I'm just gonna write them out because you have them written down here. Trading is good, right?
Yeah.
Map, looking at the map, your mouse and your control, right? Your like warding is good. APM is well, that kind of falls into mouse. Spacing, right? Right. All of these things are fundamental of the game. They're all basics of the game, right? Now, what you do is you actually 1v1 people more than you play solo queue when you're trying to work on these fundamentals.
Right, that's fine.
I actually think working on 1v1s is a lot better than like going through solo queue.
Yeah, I think too.
Solo queue is like you can practice in solo queue, sure, but these like 1v1ing people is one of the best, because in solo you're only getting like what 10 minutes, 20 minutes of practice, and then you have to play, you have to run around and like chase people in the jungle and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Right. And so if you're within these divisions, you have to focus on these basics, and just 1v1ing is better. So what you could do here, going back to the schedule that I recommended, the 2-split schedule, is you can do 3 hours of league practice or solo queue. You can do 2 hours of 1v1s and then an hour of coaching. Like, you can watch coaching sessions, right? If you believe that you need to know more, then swap it up. Do 3 hours of coaching sessions, do 2 hours of 1v1s, and then do 1 hour of solo queue.
And what about going 2v2 with a jungler?
What do you mean?
Like, being, instead of a 1v1, a 2v2, so then jungler comes into place.
I did that with ex-pro players one time, right? I did that with
Does it work?
No, I did that with, I remember I did that with old C9 jungler, and I did that with a LAN professional player. Oh my god, it was the biggest waste of time. And Dragon knew that. He was like, this is actually kind of a waste of time. I didn't say anything because I couldn't.
Yeah.
Right? I couldn't say anything because I was just there as a positional, right? But it was the biggest waste of time because the junglers were just sitting there waiting to gank mid lane.
Okay, now okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it like, there's nothing else on the map, so it's really unrealistic. So don't do 2v2s. The way you should actually do this is like do the following. Let's say you're playing Annie versus like Annie or something. If you're able to get push on wave 2, and you're able to crash 3, able to crash 4, maybe you pull 5 and pull 6, you've already won the lane. The second the wave is pulled towards your angle, if this is the lane and the lane is pulled towards your angle, then theoretically, you don't need a jungler, you should just be like, okay, the lane's over, I win, jungle ganks here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
now,
sure.
in silver, your junglers don't have keyboards, or mice, or monitors. But that's not, that doesn't matter, because we're not going off the basis of our you know, our monkey junglers here. We're going off the basis of what an actual jungler should be doing in the lane.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, anyway, so just fundamentals. That's how you get better. And then 1v1ing people is a lot better than playing solo queue. Solo queue is terrible to play. I mean, obviously in low elo it's fine, but, you know, yeah. Effective roaming doesn't really mean anything. You don't need to roam in solo queue. And and then supporting your jungler. Okay, I mean you gotta have a jungler to support, right?
Okay.
If you don't have a jungler to support, you
Yeah.
can't support. And the junglers you get, those are not junglers. Those are yeah. We don't talk about them. Okay.
Shoot.
Learning.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions about any of this so far?
No, at the moment, no.
Okay, cool.
This part. So if you go down, you'll see a game where I just get really fed, but
mhm.
it was just these straight losses where I just trying to learn Katarina in ranked with no flash and don't really understand anything. And then it's
Okay.
these games or these couple of games where it seems like Riot don't want me to leave the game. Like, is this something you can control once you get better? Like being consistent?
Well, well, first thing we have to establish is you're losing because you're solving world hunger in your games. You are feeding everybody and their pets. That's the first. Let's just have that established, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not winning because you're not playing correctly. There's no other outside third party force working here, you know? You're running it down, you're playing black and white League of Legends, and that's why you're losing. Here you got lucky. Someone inted into you, you got really fed, the game became really easy for you, and you got really, really fed.
Yeah, I think that I just go one before all the games, but in that game I just have the power and the others no. Like
So your question is how to approach being consistent.
yeah, like if it's something that you can achieve later down the line, like I know right now I won't be able to be consistent, but if it's something I can achieve.
Well, consistency is the most important thing ever. Like, it's one of the most important concepts of the game. In fact, I think consistency is a fundamental, but it's an unspoken fundamental in the sense where I would rather be a really mediocre player who's extremely consistent than be a occasionally really talented player.
Okay.
Because the nature of solo queue, it is going to benefit you if you're consistent rather than good. You don't have to be good in solo queue. You don't have to be good at this game to be a high rank. You just have to be consistently okay to be high ranking.
Okay.
Okay? You just have to be consistently decent to be a high rank. And so what you're trying to achieve is you're trying to find consistency within these aspects of the game.
Okay.
Okay? So every game you get into, can I consistently trade? Can I consistently space properly? Can I consistently look at the map? Is my APM and my mouse control and my camera good? Can I consistently, track the jungler and ward accordingly? Although you don't have to do that, you're in silver, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that build consistency. You don't have to worry about popping off and being really, really, this is not consistency. This is luck.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it there.
Yeah, this is all luck. And if you were to able to do this even more, like over and over again, even that isn't consistency.
Yeah, I wouldn't
you're just cyberbullying silver 2 players at that point. Right? That's all it is, right? And so consistency falls when you're really good at the fundamentals, okay? Which comes over time.
Yeah.
I'm not even consistent. If you've seen my gameplay, oh my god, I am not consistent. Some games I would play like I'm really, really, like I don't belong in the elo, and then other games I would play like I'm boosted.
Yeah, the fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency is everything, okay?
Right.
Okay. Any questions regarding this?
Nope.
Alright.
And now it's more game related.
Sure.
Like
champion pool. Current champions in my pool that I would love to come back to after I mastered the fundamentals. Echo might not be a jungler by the time you're back. I mean, I guess Echo is fine. Akali and Yone, these are all okay. You don't have to worry about like flex picks in solo.
Yeah, I mean that's when I just got filled.
Oh, okay.
To avoid dodging or just being 110 and losing my time.
Well, Vladimir and Annie can go mid and top.
Annie can go top.
And in your elo, Annie can go top.
Well, she can go jungle, I think.
Well, Okay, let's tone it back a little bit down. Okay, I don't think Annie can jungle, but she can definitely go top lane, and she can
Yeah.
definitely go mid lane.
It was a joke.
Okay, okay, got good. Okay, so you can play Annie top, you can play Annie mid, you can play Vlad top, Vlad mid, you can go Echo top, Echo mid. Right?
Nice.
Okay, so you don't have to worry too much about flex pick. Once you're good at the game, it doesn't really matter where you go. Okay. You can kind of play mid or top. Any questions about that? This is not a question that is that important. It doesn't really matter.
No, it's just info.
Yeah. I have no idea how to play range nor mages. Okay. Where can I find good resources to practice and learn? Okay, this is actually a good question. The best resources. So I'm gonna list them out if you're actually trying to improve at the game, right?
Yeah.
The best resources are so okay, if you're a super low, okay, that just sounds like really stupid. If you're low elo player, right? If you're like from silver to like platinum 5, if you're like really, or I guess 4 nowadays, right?
4.
Yeah. If you're super low elo player and you're playing from silver to platinum 4, things that are really good is skill capped, older videos. Not their new, not their newer. I know I've done something. I've done a number of videos about this company.
Yeah.
My opinions have been addressed about how dog water their videos actually are. But if you're a player in silver, gold, platinum, and you're just trying to learn the game, watching old skill cap videos is actually acceptable, despite what I've said about them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually helpful for you, despite what I've said about them. Right? Now, never touch pro guides, because that you're gonna have to you have to go to church after that.
Yeah.
And so don't go pro guides. You can watch my stuff, I guess. Right? Like, obviously, this is just
If I watch one of your videos and I don't completely get one of the things that you're saying, may I ask in Twitch or
yeah, of course.
Or...
I'm very
Nice.
I'm very interactive with chat, so I'm usually in chat. Like, I'm always there, and I can always answer questions that people might have.
Okay.
Right. But if I don't remember you and I end up flaming you, it's not because I okay? Because I do that sometimes. I would be super nice to clients,
personal.
and then they would show me their replays, and then I would just go off because then it's Twitch chat, right? So you can watch my stuff. Coach Curtis is really good.
Yeah, I know him.
For low elo. Vigar V2 is really good. This is actually better than me. This is actually probably more. It's good for better than yeah.
I got his pattern yesterday. One thing about Curtis, he has this super long guide about Annie, but I think it's 1 year old.
My question with Curtis's content and his viewers are: if you're able to watch his 3-hour lectures, how are you not able to pay attention to the game?
I guess I overthink everything, and then I'll ending up autopiloting.
Yeah.
Like I think it's my capacity to be able to adapt to the game. Like, imagine I have this in my mind,
right.
In my silver mind, perfect plan, and then.
Sorry, hello? Oh, she cut off. Hold on 1 second. I have to re-enter the call. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hey. Okay, I must have cut off again. I'm gonna re-screen share with you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Are we back?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, cool. Yeah, you were saying?
1 moment. Yeah. Like, I think it's the problem I have with the focus during the whole game is that I have this plan and then something happened that I didn't have into account, and then I just don't know what to do against it, or I think that will come with time.
I do think that you do overthink stuff.
Yeah.
A lot. Which isn't bad, but it's not like terrible, because you're very like you're very like always paying attention to the details, which is nice, but there is a fine line between paying attention to the details and then actually just unnecessary thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? My opinion is you can watch these guys. Now, what was your question about Curtis exactly?
The Annie guide he made, like I remember he made one about Echo, and he said some things that I wasn't really a fan of. Imagine an Echo OTP would never level up his ultimate at level 6 unless it's necessary. And imagine, I'm just making this up, but imagine that Curtis didn't say that in his guide. But still, it's a really good guide about playing Echo. Like with all those mini games. And
right.
He has a same video, but for Annie. But I think it's like 1 year ago. Like I can still.
Annie hasn't changed.
Right.
Plus, you're not looking at the videos about champions. You have to look at the video about mid lane. You have to get good at mid lane, not the champion. The reason I'm telling you to play Annie is so that you can learn mid lane, not necessarily learn. Well, you will learn Annie, but because she's really easy to learn, that's why you'll learn her.
Yeah.
The main focus around all of everything we're doing here is for you to learn the lane. The champion is just an extension. Okay?
Yeah, it's just like a guide on how to use the tool.
Yeah. And so, because that's the case, you don't have to worry about like all these nuances. Does Annie skill level E, like 2 points in E or Q, like whatever, right? All of these nuances, they actually don't matter, because what will make you really good at League of Legends is your ability to space, your trading, your CSing, your warding, your understanding of the mechanics.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's gonna get you really good. So yeah, you can watch Curtis's video about Annie 2 years ago. I guess that's fine. But that actually leads me to my second point, right? Let me just finish this list and then I'll address it, right? Sure. So Skill Capped is really good. You can watch my stuff. Coach Curtis is really good. Viger V2's Patron is really good. Ellis's his basic videos are really good, because this guy will talk about like astrophysics between games. Okay, so like within when he's now analyzing, so you don't have to worry about that too much.
Well, I can see the stream, I guess.
Wait, I'm what? Am I cutting off?
I don't see your screen anymore.
Hold on. Let me try to see. Okay, do you see this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So Skill Capped is good. They're old videos. You can watch my stuff. Curtis is really good. V2 is really good. Ellis's videos when he isn't talking about like space science is really good.
Yeah.
And what else is there? Chat. Is there anyone else that you would recommend for mid lane basics for like silver player? I don't know. Who else is there? Max doesn't do any content. Max has no content online.
Should I watch, for example, Korean Challenger pro players replays about the matchup I just had?
You wouldn't know what to look for.
Okay.
Right? You wouldn't know exactly. Yeah, so you just wouldn't know what to look for. Hedon, I don't really know who that is. I don't remember his content. I haven't seen him, so I don't really know how to explain. But anyways, whatever. Essentially, what you're doing here is, oh yeah, there's the StarCraft guy. Right. You can watch Ellis and Nemesis's coaching session with the StarCraft guy. I haven't seen that yet.
I just started today.
Yeah.
Like, I'll finish.
That might be good. I think that might be really good for you. So now going back to my main point as to why I'm listing these out, right? At the end of the day, as long as for lower tier play, for low elo, for silver up until like platinum 4, platinum 3, platinum 2, for low MMR, you are able to watch any of these. Sorry about that. You're able to watch any of these content creators, and there will be no contradictions to the fundamentals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So, like, everybody here would talk about the same thing, right? When it comes to the fundamentals, everyone here is saying the same thing. They might be saying it differently. Curtis might be doing a 3-hour lecture, right? LS might be, you might need a Harvard professor to break it down for you, right? Viger V2 is, he's really good too, right? Right, all of these people, they are translating their own understanding of the game online, and yeah, there's different variations of how they would translate it, but at the end of the day, the content revolving around what you have to do, there are no contradictions. It's all the same. Okay.
And can I contrast if I find some concept that I'm not really sure? Can I ask you?
Yeah,
Like,
you can ask. Yeah, you can just ask in chat, or you can DMs. I don't really. I'm very slow with DMs. Lovey knows.
no, I mean in stream.
Yeah, on Twitch chat. Yeah, you can ask. I'm
Sure.
usually open to ask, like answering questions in chat. I'm also doing the free VODs as well, right? So like,
Yeah.
you can always just send that over too. So it's not a big deal. It's much more. It's better than
With
getting coaching with me.
with that 10 minutes, I understand. I was the Jone,
Yeah, I remember you. You. Oh, yeah. You were the Yone. You were.
and uh, I just learned like going clicks like on one side of your champion and the other, but I didn't understand that it was for spacing. Like I just randomly click right and left, and I didn't know exactly why, and that just blew my mind. Like, oh, so this actually have some sense.
Yeah, essentially. I'm glad it helped. I'm actually quite glad the video helped.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, let's go down here. So let's take a
That's all to do with Annie. Like, for example, I'm just trying runes and spells and builds because I go to OPGG, the Annie, the OTPs, and they just have different builds for every single comp. And I don't understand the control mates itemization.
That's stuff you can read it, and you can always just ask questions. That can be just done on YouTube. There's YouTube videos about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We could talk about that, but it would take like time because we'd have to go over every item and.
Just one question about this. There's this item called Horizon Focus.
Okay.
And I just see a lot of Annie players build it. I've never seen it before. Like I have no idea what it does.
Okay, so let's read it. We can just read it. So Horizon's Focus, right? Unique passive, dealing ability damage to AP champions. So it deals AP damage to champions with an ability that is neither unit target or non-targeted at more than 700 units per range, or immobilizing them.
Yeah, and pets don't activate it.
Yeah.
Like with Annie, you have more than 700 units. Like this was a contradiction that I don't really understand why they built this.
Let me try to find the Korean challenger player. Who was that guy who was building?
It was rank 6, I think, in EU West time ago.
What's Tibbers' range? What's Tibbers' range?
I'm not sure.
You can stun with Tibbers.
Yeah, but it says that the pets don't activate the.
Wait, so that?
In game, it says pets unknown no sé qué, unknown things. I'm not really sure about it, but pets don't activate this ability, and I just don't know how to get it 700 units with Annie without the Tibbers. Maybe this isn't important, but it was something that I saw.
I think you can build this on Annie. No, I think you can build it on Annie. It says or.
Okay.
It says or. Yeah, my chat is right. Yeah, you can go this on Annie, I think. But like what are most Annie players building these days?
I love Liandry's. I don't know. I just love that item. Don't know why. I've never built it before.
You can go Liandry's if they have like a lot of HP or whatever.
Yeah, I saw Protobel too, and Ludens, but I just don't know.
Yeah, you can go Horizons on Annie. I think it's actually doable. This guy doesn't do it, but like obviously he's
there's Luden,
Protobel, this guy just rush
and
Void Staff every game.
And Liandry's.
No, he doesn't. Holy shit. He also has Void Staff on 1. What a weird little thing to do. Yeah, like Ludens is fine against the team composition like this guy, right? Like Yone, Graves, Seraphine, Ziggs. Ludens is fine to build. right? When you're versus champions that have, like, you actually need to get the burn off, then yeah, I think Leandre's is really good then too. I don't think Leandre's is the staple build on Annie these days.
I don't know. It just feels good. Like
Yeah,
I
Leandre's
think
does
it
feel good.
depends in play
Leandre's
style.
does feel good, yeah. And then Horizons, you can build Horizons focus, and you'll still find success with it. But that's the thing, right? Builds are not really that. They're important, but you can just Google and.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
But this is one of those things that I googled but didn't understand. Like I just mindlessly copy them.
You should read them. You should read all the ability, all of the items, and see what they do.
Okay.
Because that's very important. If you're gonna build a champion, you need to know what all the items do. Anyways, so identity as a champion with coordination with conditions benefits me the most. River, jungle, skirmish, front to back.
Yeah, that's. I think it goes. Over
You're playing Annie. You just run them down.
Yeah.
Right?
And do I ever take anything apart from Ignite, like for a Kiana, an Exhaust, or a Thero or something, or will what? Like if I manage the wave and the trading properly, I don't need Exhaust.
Exhaust.
Or that doesn't work like that.
With Annie, I think you can just go Ignite most of the time. In low elo, you can just run Ignite. Going teleport is gonna hurt you because you're gonna start.
I want to use it.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna start using teleport as a bandage to try to fix lane states that you already messed up on.
Yeah.
Right, and then you can actually play a lot differently when you have TP because you can come back into lane instantly and just clear with full resources. But going Ignite, they're silver. You can just kill them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, they're literally silver. You can just kill them. So always just go Ignite. Now maybe your versus like a Ziggs or something, and that's annoying. But I think even against Ziggs, Annie can just flash kill him. So I think even against Ziggs, you can still go. Like Ignite. I think, yeah. And especially in like gold and platinum, you can easily kill these people.
Okay. And one thing, I don't know if I asked that before. I mean later, but do I need to ban any champions? Like I usually don't like to ban champions of my lane so I can burst them. Like if I always ban Fizz, I would never play against a Fizz.
I mean, you don't have. So you can ban stuff that would hurt your team, not necessarily something that's an issue for you. So a good ban could be like. I don't know what the bans are like in Silver, but you can ban like Lulu.
I usually ban Master G.
The bans, see the bans in lower tier are not. They're different than the bans in higher elo. So right now. In Korea, for example, Thresh is banned a lot. Right? Ziggs is banned. LeBlanc is perma-banned. Elise is banned. Nidalee is banned. Right? None of these bans are ever really good. You're not going to see these in NA. Right? You're not going to see these bans in NA. And so for lower MMR, just ban something that's extremely obnoxious that your teammates are going to have an issue with. Like
we usually ban Master G or Evelyn or...
Yeah. Evelyn is good.
Jungle.
Evelyn is really good because as an Evelyn player, you don't have to be good at the game. You just need one or two players that aren't fully there. Right?
We usually ban Rengar and Talon too because it's like the go-to for boosting. I don't know, but usually the Smurf in my elo when you see a Talon, a Rengar, those stuff, and he's low elo, it's like, oh my god, like rip. This game is
I mean,
it's going to be hard.
I suppose, yeah, I guess. But I think you can just ban Evelyn. Evelyn is a really good ban in low MMR because your teammates are not good, and so if Evelyn doesn't have to do anything, she's invisible. She just goes up to them and kills them, right? And so banning Evelyn, and then she just gets stacking. So like if there's a 25 Magi stack Evelyn and I'm smurfing in silver, I'm not having a fun time.
No.
Right? It's like, going to be hard.
There's no counterplay.
There's very little counter. Well, I mean, you can kill her eventually, but it's hard. Just ban it. Just get rid of it. Master Yi is obviously you can. It's not OP or anything, but in lower MMR, sure, you can ban it. Someone said Shaco
Yeah.
is a good ban. Yeah, you could ban Shaco in
Oh,
Lowilo, I suppose.
yeah.
I don't know if Lulu is a ban in Lowimar, but you have to.
No, Lulu's in my yellow. Well, I may be making this up. I'm sorry for the Lulu players in silver, but I don't usually see good Lulus
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah,
yellow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you
Like
can,
even Lulu Kog'Maw, they can go 1 and 10 easy.
yeah, you can just ban like really obnoxious stuff, I guess, and it doesn't really matter. Okay. Can we move on to pre-match?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Pre-match. What does that mean? Oh, like before you get into the game, of course. Okay. What do I have to
Yeah,
care about?
like
16 team
choosing the
fights.
champions and the champion select and that stuff. Like, do
So,
I really need to worry about this at this point?
um, well, no, well, okay, yes and no. It depends to a degree, right? For example, in my last coaching session when I was coaching the master tier jungler, um, essentially what I was telling him is that he can go into his OPGGs and he can like randomly open a game like this up. Now, if we were to open this game up, what I'm seeing and what he was seeing would be roughly the same thing. If he was playing Lee Sin in this game, right? Well, we have decent we have a lot of authority up in top lane potentially, right? We got Mordekaiser, Ziggs mid. We lose out on the push in mid lane. And then bottom lane Kalista Lux versus Blitzcrank Tristana. So depends on how the players play out. He could probably path down for bottom side for like 315 crab or something, right?
Yeah.
Obviously he needs to worry about Ziggs bomb. Ziggs can clear waves pretty easily. And so he doesn't actually need to split immediately. Mordekaiser
Yeah.
always in a team fight. Kalista, like all of these things, yeah, you can think about. I think thinking
But
about these things are
being
pretty
silver,
healthy.
yeah, but I mean, I can think about them, but don't treat them like a Bible, because even though imagine Caitlyn should have priority against a lower range ADC,
Mhm.
maybe in my elo that Caitlyn is just on the tower.
Yeah, the
Being
Caitlyn
safe.
she could not have a mouse for all you know.
Like I can't
Right.
have a plan for the lanes at the start, but I can start to think about them. Like maybe
Yeah,
this
you
is
can
what
start
should happen.
you can start thinking about this stuff. This is all fine, but this should not take away from this. This is always priority. This is secondary, right? CC and team fights, yeah, this is important as well. Lane priority, yeah, well, I mean, I don't really. It's silver, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. Jungle matchup, you don't have to think about. 2v2 crab contest, you can think about, I guess, but I don't think the junglers even want to do that. I mean, like I've seen players do crab incorrectly in Diamond 1. I mean, I can't imagine how bad it would be in Silver.
Yeah.
And so I guess you
In
can start.
silver, it's going 100 with no prio in any lanes, and knowing that the other guy is, I don't know,
Yeah. I mean,
happy.
stuff like this is all secondary. It as long as it doesn't take away from the fundamentals. What opening should I do? How to test them? I talk about this in my videos.
Yeah.
Right, and then there's LCS Blabber, true. Right, you can. This is stuff you can watch in the videos. There's no like verbal response that I can give you that'll help you like
Okay.
understand this. This is stuff that, because it depends on the champion. The way you test a LeBlanc is a lot different than the way you test Yasuo. The way you test a Kennen is a lot different than the way you test a Darius. Okay, because they're different champions. They have different abilities and different, yeah.
With this question, I was going back to the assassins versus control mates. With assassins, I just let them push. I'm maybe not even in lane. I'm just wandering around, and then at level 3, I can all in and just kill him.
Well,
But I don't think that will teach me how to lane. Like if I'm absent for 3 levels or something.
well, this goes back to just learning the game.
Yeah, sure.
Right, having a player push into you early on is okay if you know if it's correct to do. A classic example was the TF versus Fizz guide, right? But the thing with those kinds of things is like in silver you don't have to worry too much about them. Just focus on the fundamentals. Going back to this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll eventually be able to answer a lot of these questions the more you experience the game. So one thing that I'm noticing is a lot of your questions, they seem to stem from inexperience.
Yeah.
But the more experience you have, a lot of these questions will just dissolve over time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It's like, yeah, it's like this thing that I say, that I have a lot of misconceptions or concepts that someone or some random coach says, or
Right.
friends or whatever, but I don't really know how to apply them, or even what do they mean.
I don't think you should be watching other coaches other than like the listed,
Okay.
right? Because those are the ones that I'm aware of and I've seen their content. And so I can for sure say that yeah, there's no contradictions at the end of the day, for lower MMR play. But if you were to watch somebody else, like there's this one guy, I don't know if I should be name dropping in the middle of a coaching session, but whatever, not like I'm losing anything. The strategy professor, I know a lot of low elo players watch that guy. That is a surefire way to demote all the way to iron, I'm pretty sure. Right? There are people out there that should not even be allowed to talk about the game, that are online holding influence and discussing the game.
Okay.
Right?
I keep that in mind.
And so you have to be very careful of who you watch and who you take advice from, because there are people that don't even know what day it is and they're teaching the game.
I'll just ask in Twitch chat.
Skeptic asks who that is. Skeptic, you should Google him or YouTube him. Yeah. It is some of like the worst. There's a lot of content out there that is really, really, really bad. I don't think he's very popular in EU. He's more like NA. People in NA watch him, but that makes sense. It's NA. So yeah. Anyways, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Early game, mute all or let junglers support ping up. Yeah, so mute them, but then you can have their pings up, I suppose. I think that's fine.
And then mute if they are stupid.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. No one even in Master actually pings properly. No one in Diamond 1 pings properly.
I sometimes when I play Echo, I go with TP, and I split push a lot in the other lane, in the side lane, and
Sure.
I just spam ping the Baron because I know there's 4 people running behind me. Is it okay to like command my team to do something that I think is good for the
Yeah,
game?
of course. Yeah, definitely. You want to be pinging.
Okay.
100%. You want to be pinging your teammates. But yeah, you should just mute them because you don't want to communicate with these people.
All right.
They don't speak human. Okay, they just don't. Just don't even bother communicating with them. So what to do in the first seconds of the match before we start the waves? That stuff I can't answer because it depends on the game.
Okay.
If you watch all of my videos, different things I'm telling people to do.
Yeah, but as a mid laner, where should I stand?
Depends. The way you stand against Yasuo is a lot different and how you would stand against Zed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in the lane per se, like this time frame where junglers go to place a ward, where some of the junglers go place a ward in the pixel brush or something. Like,
like in the
cover
beginning,
or invade?
before the waves even spawn.
Yeah. Like
Oh, just
at
chill.
the...
You can just defend the jungle.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can just chill in mid, or something. It doesn't matter. You know,
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. These things don't matter until like a certain rank.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And I get that you're interested in them, and you know they're intriguing, but it doesn't really affect you in any way. Like no one's losing a silver game because someone didn't watch the buff.
Yeah. Yeah, I contact you because I want this filter with all the things. Like, I just want to break down the basics and just focus on that.
Yeah.
So that's why I ask all these questions.
Yeah. That's completely fine. Never played control mages. Between which initial plays may I choose from melee versus melee with wit?
We expect about that
Which
already.
Oh, we are okay. We talked. Okay, assassins. I let them push. Yeah, we talked about this. This is not necessarily. It's League of Legends is not black and white.
Yeah.
Right, okay. None of my videos. People sometimes would ask me. It's like, oh, but you told me to shove the third wave. Why are you telling me to pull it now? Well, it's like it's different scenario.
Yeah, sure.
You don't. You're the problem with a lot of people have is they try to memorize the game rather than understand it.
Yeah.
Right? This statement in itself is just trying to memorize something, not understanding it, and that's the problem, right?
Okay.
How to range my opponent's skill.
Like.
You have to know what makes a good player before you can evaluate somebody.
Okay.
So you can't. Technically, right?
Yeah.
But over time, you'll learn it. Again, this is the type of question that'll dissolve as skill improves, right? Finding balance between harassing and farming. This is like just watching the videos, basics, right? Do I have to care about jungle tracking and silver? No. Junglers are they don't know what they're doing. They're blindfolded. They're all cosplaying Lee Sin. IRL. They are confused. They don't know. They're literally wild beasts. If they see blood, they just run to it.
Okay.
You never communicate with the jungler in silver. These people are not, just don't even, just you don't want to.
Okay. The last question, like, what so my team can track him to or be safe in lane? Like, if I know where the jungler should be, or I just watch him or whatever, do I ward for me for my winning lane? Do I how do I approach warding? Don't know if that makes sense.
So warding, although people say warding is a fundamental, I only say that because people everybody thinks warding is a fundamental. That's why I just say it, so I don't have to explain myself. But warding actually is not a fundamental. And the reason warding isn't a fundamental is because you can't ward if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, or the other people.
You can't ward if you don't know what the state of the game is looking like. Where's the enemy jungler? How are the waves looking like? What is your jungler doing, right? You can't necessarily ward. You can ward, of course, you can just place it and then just chill there. But effectively warding is not something that you can do in low elo because the games are too chaotic. And
one example, if for example I have my ward in top side and my jungler is in bot side, where do I lean to?
You can still ward bottom side. Now this could actually be incorrect in some cases because it depends on the matchup, right? Yeah. But in lower MMR, a general idea is, and again, right, and this goes kind of against what you're trying to do, is you're trying to look at the game through every little detail, but the lower rank you are, the more you have to generalize certain things. And then the details come at the end.
Nice.
Right? And so when you're generalizing the game right now, which we're trying to simplify the game for ourselves, is just ward a bush and just stay next to it. Now, this advice is actually incorrect in higher MMR.
Yeah.
It's actually wrong to say that in high elo. That's why I'm kind of giving out a disclaimer here. Because in some cases the state of the game can be different and doing that would actually be bad. But generally, to get yourself introduced to the idea, you want to ward and then just lean towards that ward, okay?
Okay.
Alright? Even if it's wrong in higher elo, it doesn't necessarily make it wrong in lower MMR because you're still practicing the fundamentals, and these are the things that'll get you better. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, so roaming with my jungler. So where were we? Were we like here or something?
I'm reading. I think the next one could be the how to recover from a bad trade.
When can I ask for blue buff?
Yeah, like I just have to steal the blue buff from my jungler.
You can ask your jungler if he's admitted to a mental asylum, and if he isn't, then you can probably get away with getting a blue buff.
Okay.
So that's,
I just right now I just have to run for it once he's dead. Like that's the only way I can get a blue buff.
You have to wait for your jungler to die so that you can take his blue.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to. Don't try to. So getting blue is like luxury, I think, in low elo.
Yeah. Normally, like usually the blue buff is in the other junglers or the other mid laner.
Wait, they give off blue, but you're not getting one? That wouldn't make any sense based on like numbers alone, right? Because eventually in the next game you should have a different jungler, right? Do you ask for it?
Yeah.
You should spam it. You should spam ping ask for it.
Like when I even sometimes prepare the wave in order to be able to go out and take the blue.
Yeah.
And then they just smite. Like they just even flash smite it. Like there's no way I can get a blue buff.
Oh my god.
Like
that's amazing. Then just don't worry about it. Wait for
Okay.
like the just literally pass him off as like a patient and just go next game. It's
Okay.
okay, right? Now in higher elo, in some cases, people would AFK. I've actually AFK'd one time when I didn't get blue buff. That was like a long time ago, and I was a lot more toxic. Because, honor level 3 chat. But back then it was really bad, right? Back then it was really bad.
Okay.
But in low MMR, I think in silver, gold, platinum, and even in diamond,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't have to worry. Like if your jungler doesn't give off blue, like he's gonna do what he's gonna do. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's okay. Just go back to focusing on what you need to focus on.
Right.
Is it worth dying to fix the wave? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it actually is. But that's also conditional.
Yeah, maybe like in silver they just fix the way for me. Like, oh my god, I'm going to lose so much with this bug, but I just need to do it. And then I'm watching the enemy laner, and it's like, oh, thanks, buddy. Like,
Well, okay, so now this could actually be perceived as incorrect in some cases, right? Because when you say die, let's say you kill your lane opponent. So let me just draw something out, right?
for example, in top lane, if I'm versing a Smurf, it's not a general case, like it's just an example.
Right.
But if he's freezing on me for minutes and minutes, is it worth to die just to break the freeze?
Here, let me explain. So here, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
So here's the tower, right? Let's say this is mid lane or top lane. Let's say you kill your lane opponent, right? And let's say the wave is looking like something like, I don't know, let's say like there's like 3-4 blues, and wave is like here, and the next wave is like coming, and this is like a freeze, right? Right, so this is a freeze. Now, yeah, you can probably walk up, if you walk up, you'll die. Now, you don't have to do this, because when your jungler comes, after you recall, you can still crash the wave. Once this wave arrives, you can crash the wave. That's a possibility. Okay, you know what? I think.
Yeah, but jungler won't help me to break the freeze.
Yeah, I actually think answering this question is really, really hard for me, for someone in silver, gold, platinum. If you were a challenger or a master mid laner, stuff like this wouldn't be in question because you would know what to do. This is another question that you're having because of the inexperience you might have in lane.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, when to die to fix the wave state, it depends on a lot of variables.
Okay, I'll just worry about this.
So yeah, and so for me to start breaking this down, there's like other possibilities that I'm thinking about that if I try to explain this question, it's not gonna help you.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of these questions you have to experience high level gameplay to truly like, and then your questions will be rearranged.
Okay.
Okay. But it's like an experience. It's an experiential thing. I can't Anyways, how to avoid buying 5... Any questions about that so far?
No.
Okay.
It's all fine.
How to avoid buying 8 pink words in a game when behind. Actually, if you buy pinks when you're behind, you're wasting more economy. You're at 75 gold.
Yeah, that's the point. Like when I feel so threatened, like I almost buy 2 pinks or something like that, and I just watch the recap, and I'm like 6-8 pinks, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's a lot of money. Like,
yeah.
I just think that goes back to I'm not being effective with my wording, but there's these games where the map is completely black. They just got down all the tier 1 towers, or like the other towers are down. Like it's not safe to even go past the first tower to farm. We can't go into our jungler or our jungle, and
Right.
I'm just wait, like
Well,
my support is still with the yellow trinket, no blue trinket, no one is buying pinks. Like I feel like I need to compensate that just in order to be alive. I just die again. Like it doesn't matter how many pinks I buy, because I'm not putting them where they should be. Like buying pinks is something that I should do even if I just don't need to fight for vision. Like I don't think vision fight will occur on silver, but I just don't find a way to be consistent with the pinks. Like I always buy them, but I think that I'm wasting a lot of resources.
Yeah,
Like I
I
just
think okay.
autopilot control this bush, then go to the next and put the other pink, and then pop the red ward, and then I'm the oracle lens, and then I'm just with no visions because okay, the path into this point is clear, but now what? Like there's a third burst where they are
Right.
just waiting.
Right.
This is a lot into the mid game, late game style.
Um, I really think you suffer from overthinking.
Yeah, that's why I speak to you, because you are so clear. Like, no, this is wrong, this is right. You are this and that.
Right.
Like, I just need someone that I respect to tell me, hey, stop thinking, just play, focus on
I
this.
do,
And
yeah. I do think you do overthink a lot. And that can be good or bad. But in a lot of
right now
cases, in
it's
this
bad.
case, it's bad. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
both determine it's quite bad.
yeah.
So this goes back to the question. This goes back to the analogy, right? Or the Bruce Lee or the Jet Li quote. I don't know which one said it, but a punch is a punch. A punch is more than a punch, and a punch is just a punch.
Yeah.
Right? Where what you're doing is if in the initial beginning of the quote, we are just looking at the craft as the craft. Then once we start getting better at it and more details come into line, we then start getting all of these random like variables in our understanding, which you're at right now. Hence all of these questions, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually comes to the final stage where again a punch is just a punch. A punch isn't more than a punch; it's just a punch, and the reason for that is because even during all of that complexity, if you're able to find something, if you're able to find the simplicity inside of a complex craft,
Yeah.
or like anything complex, if you can find the simplicity in that, that's when you truly understand it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, sure.
And so, right now, this goes back to my initial point where you're stuck at the second part where a punch is more than a punch, and you're struggling to find simplicity inside of a complex game because you're not realizing that the game is just the game at the end of the day. Does that sort of,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
translate? My alt account is called Just a Punch.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
I know that I just overthink things too much.
Yeah.
Like going back to the weeks that I played against these Smurfs.
Right.
I loved it because I just couldn't think. Like I just played.
Right. And that's good, right? I think you thinking less about all of the details is probably going to be better for you.
Yeah.
Right? God, okay, you're overthinking a lot to the point where I don't even remember the question anymore. What was the question? Vision should be altered. What? Oh yeah, the 8 pink words. Right. All right. Let me just highlight this. Okay, great. So you have 8 pink words. Well, first of all, getting pink words when you're behind is actually worse because you won't be able to defend them.
Okay. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Like my brain just goes brr, like.
There you go.
Okay.
Right.
Wow. No. Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Oh right.
Yeah. Someone in my chat said, "Don't think,
happy.
let's think about what matters." Yeah, but what she's doing is she's thinking about so many things. Which the person in my chat isn't wrong. I think what he brings up a really, really important point where he talks about thinking about the right things, not necessarily everything else that isn't, like around it. Now, a lot of these questions are fine to clear up certain misunderstandings, but going back to my the second thing I have here open, as long as you're thinking about these things, everything else doesn't matter.
Okay.
Nothing else matters. Everything else is just like extra, additional, back to that second part of the quote where you're thinking a punch is more than a punch. All of this stuff here, a punch is just a punch at the end of the day.
Yeah, like it's nice to know that there's more things, but right now I must focus on what matters.
And I'll be honest, a lot of these questions that you bring up, these questions I don't even think about.
Yeah.
Because they're actually pointless. Because when you get to the point where you see the game for what it is, all of these 99% of these, well, not 99, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of these questions, they dissolve.
Okay.
Right? I'm never thinking about, when can I ask for blue buff? When I see the blue buff timer, I see the blue buff timer, I see my junglers clear out, I see my waves. I know when I have to go for the blue buff.
Okay.
Right? But I'm not going into the game thinking about when I should be looking at my jungler's blue buff and when I should be looking at which wave and what, all this, it comes to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So a punch is at the end of the day just a punch, okay? So going to the
Yeah.
next question, let's see here. Vision should be altered how you play, but what can I do when the map is black and I'm scared of every corner?
I think I just stay in lane and learn how to farm. Like
Yes,
I
there you
won't
go.
bother about
Exactly. It's
going
another
to
it's
my
another
jungler
it's
to
another
defend
question.
my red.
Yeah, just another question that doesn't achieve anything. When the map is dark and you are losing, well, why is the map dark first of all? You're losing.
Uh-huh.
Right? Why is it that you can't go into any corner of the map? It's because you're losing really hard.
Was like if I focus on my fundamentals and avoid being behind.
You would be
like
maybe... you would avoid being in that situation in the first place, but logically speaking, if the whole map is dark and you can't even walk out of your base, what can you do?
Oh, that's nice. I'm worrying about games that are already lost. Like I'm thinking so much about all these things that normally occur once the game is just out of control. Like there's at my current ability, I can't do anything to fix that, and I'm still worrying about them. Instead of saying, okay, this game is lost, I can just focus on
that is true. That is true. But I'm thinking more of like I'm kind of going towards more of a different angle where it has nothing to do with your ability, actually. If there's a challenger player in your game, and the challenger player is in like a silver game or like a bronze game, or maybe not a bronze game, but maybe like a platinum and a gold game, and the whole map is dark and he can't even go out of his base right now. That's how behind his team is. Logically, what do you think he could do?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Oh, so you can...
There's nothing that he can do.
Okay, so the best answer is do nothing.
You can't do anything. It doesn't matter what rank you are. If the game is in a state where you can't do anything, you shouldn't do anything.
Yeah, like I'm trying to force all these crazy plays to make a comeback, and I just need to wait.
Well, you're trying to find an answer for everything that fits your understanding. And that's where the problem can be, right? Because in many cases, when the game is in such a weird state, making more plays or trying to do something is actually a lot worse than doing nothing.
Yeah.
And pro play is one of the most like dominant examples of this. In many cases, there would be, especially in NA LCS, right, where one team would be infinitely scaling. They would have a perma-freeze down in bottom lane, but they would still instigate fights on Nash.
Okay.
When the call is to do nothing, just do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, within a pro game, a team will realize when it's lost. Sorry for the source, by the way. I have internet issues. The net issues are good now, but I'll change the stream quality later. What was I gonna say? God damn it. The game could be lost, and before it's lost, teams could flip it. Right? Teams can just flip it and try to see, okay, maybe we can try to make something happen here. Because if we don't make something happen here, the game is lost anyway. Right?
Yeah.
But that's stuff that's never going to come into your experience in silver, gold, platinum, etc. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like I'm starting to see clarity.
Yeah. And that's the goal. That's the objective.
Yeah.
Right? So red versus. So where were we?
Yeah, there, like the Oracle Lance or the other trinket, like the blue one. Like this goes back to the assassins versus mages. Like with assassins, I just don't think about the trinket, but with mages, I just like I usually take the blue if my ADC doesn't take it.
Why did your ADC take it?
What?
Why would your ADC take blue buff?
No, the blue trinket.
Oh, the blue trinket.
No.
Okay.
The ADC will take all that.
Okay, when you said blue, I thought you meant the buff. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
No, the trinket. The
trinket. Yeah. Okay, so let's logically decipher this, right? Like again, just pure logic. red trinket, blue trinket, and then standard yellow. Red what does red do?
Cleans vision.
Cleans vision.
Clears.
Denies wards.
Yeah.
Blue?
Check things.
Long distance vision. Right?
Yeah.
And then yellow is wards a location. Okay? So,
Okay.
if you want to deny if you're looking at the game and you want to deny vision, which one do you go?
The red one.
And if you can't face check somebody, which one do you
the
go?
blue one.
And if you just wanna, and if everything is just standard game.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Oh my god, I just overthink things so much. Like,
Yeah. Logic can get you very far, and thinking less is actually pretty healthy.
yeah,
Okay?
nice.
Great. Alright, we got that
I
established.
having a lot of eureka moments during this session.
Yeah, it's completely fine. There is nothing else to this. If you need to deny vision and you're winning the game, okay, let's get red. If you can't face check, whatever, blue is good. Now, usually as a top laner and certain roles, they don't need to really build these wards. So you wouldn't really see a top laner going yellow, like blue trinket, but I mean that just depends on the nature of what that guy wants to do, right? So anyways,
Okay.
Hover out of sight to pressure other lanes, or stay in lane to pressure enemy laner. That depends.
Okay.
It all depends.
Okay.
Alright?
That's those timers where I just fucked up the wave and I just don't have anything to do. Like, I just stay there, or do I go to a bush?
It depends. It really just depends. Again, right?
Okay,
like,
I just
if you get
that.
the better you get at the game, this question will never come into play.
Okay.
In fact, try asking this question to one of your friends in Master.
Okay.
And see what they say. They're gonna hesitate. And they're
They don't think, they just do it.
Well, it's not even about thinking or doing it. This question doesn't come into play because right now, for example, okay, my enemy laner is really low. I don't have to go into the bush. I can just harass him. Okay, my laner is healthy. And I need him to push up, so I'm gonna pretend maybe I roam, and then maybe he'll push up to me to see what happens. Right? It all just depends. Now that could be a reasoning for doing these things. But then there could be other reasons as well. But that's the thing. We can't go over every single reason in the game because every game is very different.
Yeah, it's not black or white.
It's not black or white.
Gray.
It's always gray, right? And so trying to find so finding simplicity in a complex kind of like game is the goal. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to memorize things, not understand them.
No, I'm trying to actually understand them, to make connections, and don't have to memorize things. Like,
okay, so you're aware. Okay, so you're okay.
I had really bad memory. But I think I can recognize patterns easily.
Right. So
I'm just making like a small rules to take into account. Like there aren't going to be right 100% of the time, but to know that they are there and to know how to.
Okay, I see. So as long as you're not painting the game in black or white, I think it's actually okay. 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 All right. Anyways, we can go on to the next question, I think, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can I hunt the enemy jungler if I know where she is? Okay.
This goes against the assassins versus
we can. Well, no, you can do that on mages too. Actually, anyone can kind of do that. But again, let's ask ourselves, right? Is the jungler Kha'Zix? Can you fight him as Annie?
Yeah.
The enemy.
In my
the enemy Kha'Zix.
I mean, if he's 10-0, then no, he one-shots me. But if I have all my stunned and things like.
Okay. What if you're level 3?
I can kill. No.
Okay. What if you're level? What if Kha'Zix is? What if like you're level 4 and Kha'Zix is level 5 and Kha'Zix has 3 kills?
No.
What if you are?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Exactly. I can make up thousands and thousands of variations.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah. But the reality
way I
is,
think.
every time I asked you a question, you still gave me an answer.
Yeah.
But the answer you gave me is based off of your own logic, which you should trust more.
Okay.
Right? So you don't have to ask questions like this where, should I hunt the enemy? If you know you can kill him and you're not losing anything, then yeah, by all means you should do that. Now, in some cases, if you go off and you try to go on an adventure with your enemy jungler, you will lose stuff in mid lane. So you also have to consider that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? And then you also have to consider, can the enemy respond?
Mm-hmm.
So these are all things you can think about. But again, the better you get at the game, the better you get at the game, the more you'll understand them. So don't worry too much about these things. Okay?
Nice. It's been too long, maybe.
Yeah, we're almost done, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Do I have to push up if there's any objectives up? No.
Okay.
Okay. Do I back with my jungler? No. Well, what? No, that depends on your own reset timings.
Okay.
Because if you recall on a non-cannon or something, or you end up messing up your own tempo, it doesn't do you any favors.
Okay.
Okay. Can I play it calm and just punish mistakes, or do I need to test limits? This goes back to just focusing on these things. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Use flex Q alt accounts to test limits. Yeah, this actually you can do. This you can do.
Okay.
Okay. This is fine to do. When to stay for plates after a bad back from my enemy laner with no TP. Again, if you understand tempo, going back to understanding like CSing trading, map awareness, mouse control warding, and understanding wave management, by the way, that's another. So if you notice, a lot of these questions can be redirected to the fundamentals.
Yeah, with those fundamentals, I
right?
will be able to answer all this.
Right. Right? Like these are all like basics that you can just, right?
Yeah.
So again, this you can learn from. If you understand wave management, you'll understand the question. Okay. Can I fight random river skirmishes with my actual resources?
No, that's it's. If I usually think about that when I'm like it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like,
Sure. Yeah. Mid game, focus on collecting waves in groups with man advantage, or wait to catch the player who will receive the wave. Focus on collecting waves in group. Okay, this again depends. So in lower MMR, it is a zoo. It is a complete circus act. Now you can either subscribe to that and be a clown, or you can stay away from that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But do not try to understand mid game. Just people are running around. They don't even know what they're doing. Right? After lane phase, that's why I keep saying Diamond 1 is just like a shiny silver. Right?
Okay.
Diamond 1 rank after lane phase is basically the same thing as a silver game. And it's been proven because I could show replays of people playing the game, and my chat or other people just in general wouldn't know what the difference between a Diamond 1 game would look like and a bronze game. Because it just looks the same. It actually looks the same. I did a VOD earlier about an AD carry who was playing it so piss poor. I thought he was gold. He was actually Diamond 1.
Okay.
Right? And so... And there was the last video I did about the GM mid laner. I thought that was a game in platinum. It was a game in 300 LP.
Okay.
It is very, very hard to, after the lane phase, it is just completely different. So mid game does not matter.
Then I don't think any of these questions.
Do I hover over possible? Yeah, this is all stuff. I hate solo queue, ARAM. Do I need to stay there? No, you don't. You can lane swap, but that again, the more you understand the game, the better it'll get.
Yeah.
With deathline, can I cross sideline? Being what is the deathline that I can't cross?
The deathline is like this concept. I just make that up. Like when you know that if you go past this, like imagine you don't have the outer tower.
Oh my god.
Like you know that if you don't have vision somewhere or you don't see the enemies, if you go past this line, you are most likely dead.
Do you see the thing here?
Yeah.
If you're low elo, just don't cross. So if you're behind, in mid game, you don't have to cross like here.
Okay.
If you're really behind, just don't cross here. So just look at the.
Yeah,
flame.
it makes
just
sense.
Look at like the fire.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Just look at the fire. Okay, this is like the general just don't cross. That's like the best thing I can say for like someone trying to understand the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And and the enemy team will troll and die
Yeah.
because they don't know any better.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Late game. I think I just don't have to care about all this at this point. What? Wait, what? Oh, you meant the late game, not the entire question. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I was about to, I really misread that. Got it.
Like,
Okay.
it's not a troll.
Hey, okay. I think I've done. Imagine. I think I just don't have to care about all this. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
But this is like the one time you're not overthinking.
Yeah. That was like, wait.
You know?
Yeah,
You
sure.
know what I mean? Okay, cool. So yeah, you don't have to care about anything here. Mid game is whatever. And then everything that is actually important would be over here.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Let me
It's
just.
been an amazing session.
Yeah.
Like, actually amazing.
I'm just glad you're able to clear out certain things. And find clarity. So at this point, I mean, now you just have to play the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Think of anything else I can tell you. No, I think we're good. All right then. All right, this will be uploaded. You can get back to it anytime. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask in chat. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Good luck. I'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Ciao.
See ya. All right, that was the session with the silver mid laner.